to Real Health with me, Karl Henry. Folks, at life's crossroads, many of us feel stuck between who we are and who we want to be. Tara Rafter, known as the Navigation Coach, helps people move from their current state to a desired state. An award-winning master practitioner in NLP, Tara guides clients to identify and dismantle limiting beliefs, rewire the brain's patterns, and take conscious, purposeful action towards lasting change. Tara, a very welcome to Real Health in our new studio. Hey!
Oh, it's gorgeous. We feel very fancy.
Very fancy. How are you?
I'm great. It's lovely to see you.
No pressure now. Award-winning NLP practitioner. That's a serious title.
The pressure is over now. I had to do the stuff to win the award. It was the pressure to win it. So yeah.
Let's get to know you a little bit first.
Go on.
How does one become an NLP, a master NLP practitioner? Like, how does life get you to that point?
How long have you?
As long as you want.
I need to make loads of tea. I always say I probably started my training when I was about 3 years of age, because when I was small there was loads of turbulence at home and my dad was an alcoholic and there was domestic violence and lots of stuff happening at home, and I kind of learned when I was small to read a room and read people really, really fast. And to be honest with you, I thought that was how everybody did the world. I thought everyone filtered and sorted at the speed of processing that I did. And I kind of learned to live like that, with this fascination for people. And I worked in retail, in Dunnes and SuperValu for years, like probably so many of the people listening. It's like
Retail's an amazing training.
It's a baptism of
for everything.
Fire. Yeah.
For life.
Yeah. I think everyone should work in Dunnes on Christmas Eve. You don't know whether you're coming or going. Yeah, you learn things about yourself whether you want it or you don't. And you're surrounded by the coolest people. Like, I was packing on the grocery shop floor, and the life skills, I don't think there's any course that could teach you. I had a ball, I loved it. But the fascination for the people was always the part. And I did an honours degree in business when I finished secondary school, and I went to Australia for a while to live the dream like loads of people do. And when I was over there, sadly, my dad passed away, and I came home, started on checkouts in SuperValu, in my local SuperValu, because I was skint after coming back from Australia. And I worked my way from the checkouts and the shop floor up through the ranks in the SuperValu over 9 years. And I was running the store alongside 2 other managers. And I did all the recruitment and selection, induction and training. It was the people bit. I loved the humans. And then I think because of stuff when I was small, I had always kind of promised myself long before vision boards and manifestation and stuff that if I was ever lucky enough to become a mother, that I would love for a child that I would bring into the world to have a different life than the life I had. And I probably had like a subconscious mission to make sure that happened. And when my son Kai was born, I knew I couldn't be the type of mother I wanted to be if I stayed in retail. And I always kind of say, them October evenings you come in from school when you're small and you get the smell of dinner and the cartoons are on and the fire is on and Mama be in the kitchen, and that was always my safe place. And I always said, whatever job I had, I wanted to make sure I could create that for my little people. And I couldn't do it with retail. So I started searching for a feeling, to be honest with you. I didn't know what coaching was. I didn't know any of it. And Kai was born in 2015, and I started doing courses when I was feeding up at night and stuff. And I took the scenic route, and I did my first diploma in life and business coaching in 2017. And I layered up on the training over and over and over. No matter what courses the Irish Life Coach Institute put on, my name was on the top of the list. Poor Adrian Mitchell would be like, just put Tara's name down, she's going to do it. And I have consistently trained over the last, I'm 8 years in business now. And I've added levels like Neuro Linguistics, compassionate inquiry with Dr. Gabor Mate. Last year I was really lucky to be accepted onto that training course. Jose Silva's training. To be honest, anything that when a client sat in front of me, I was like, I don't know what to do with that. So I would see that as an opportunity and I would layer up on the training. Yeah.
And you love it.
Oh God, Karl. I've often got out the back of a taxi and your man is going changing his whole life. By the time he drops me off, I would talk to the wall if I was left long enough. Yeah, I love people. And I have such a fascination in human potential. And I see little me in so many people. Like I was walking through Dublin there before I came into. I walked over from Houston and I was just looking at people walking down the street, wondering.
I love walking from Houston.
Do you?
Everyone looks like me. I have 4 heads when I say it.
What? Why?
It's like you walk from Houston. Like,
I
that's
love
really
it as well.
far.
I did it too.
I walked in from UCD. I was swimming in UCD this morning, and I walked in from UCD to
Yeah.
town, and like I got into meeting in town. But you walked. I was like, well, it's a beautiful morning.
It's fab.
I've nowhere else to be.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I walk?
I get to walk.
Yeah.
I was looking at all the people walking up and down the streets, and you can tell everyone has their story and everyone is in their head. And I always look in people's eyes, and I'm always thinking, like, how are you today? Or what are you worrying about? Or everyone, like humans are like, they're like these little tapestries.
So you want to mammy everyone?
Not mammy them. I'm just curious.
You want to bring them to places where you
Yeah.
want to bring them to their potential.
Yeah, because I feel like there's so many layers to a person, and we shut ourselves down and block ourselves off, and it's all protection. But so often we don't reach what our full potential could be. I remember hearing a quote once, and someone said, the reality or the idea of hell is getting to the end of your life and being introduced to the person that you could have been. Ugh. I know. Doesn't it hit you in the
That's all our listeners take a very deep breath,
bottom of the stomach?
myself included.
I know, yeah. Doesn't it make you think, though? Like how you hold yourself back, or how you block yourself, or how you stand in your own way. And you hear people saying that all the time, what's in your way? Me. So it's that.
And is that little you? Is that way of installing a belief system or installing a memory, a deep reason
Yeah.
for change? Is that
How
what
it
that
happens.
is?
Yeah. So if you think about like when we're small, even when I landed into the world, your brain has one job and it's keep you alive, and it's in there tracking for danger all the time. And I always use the the example of the Terminator. If ever I go into schools and they haven't seen it, I'm like, go home and watch the Terminator. How have you not seen that film?
We're of that.
We're of me and you.
Yeah,
I know, so I need to school them. But anyway, Arnie is in there, ready, scanning for danger. So the brain all the time is tracking for a potential threat. And if you can imagine and build a relationship with your mind that's what's happening, when we land into the world, humans, we have two fears: loud noises and falling. That's it. Anything else, sharks and spiders, you acquired them along the way. But that's the only two that's in there. And we have this undercurrent in all of us. It's tribal, that we need to belong to the tribe. That's where safety lives. So if we belong to the tribe, we have a much bigger chance of survival. And if you think about belief systems, they're shaped and conditioned and handcrafted by the environment that you're born into, the family that you're born into, the town and the village and the county and the country and the school and all the different layers that surrounds a human. That's where all those beliefs come from. And a belief at its essence is just a piece of information repeated over and over and over, usually by someone you'll hold in high regard. And then you'll get a bit of evidence to back it up. But what humans don't realise is first we make our beliefs and then our beliefs make us. And so often that can be hugely limiting for people. So like that little me that landed into the world with the turbulence when I was only small, I didn't have the wisdom or cognition to be in a position to make judgment calls about myself or the world. But kids attach meanings to things. That's the way they do it. So when I was small, I was looking at everything happening around me, and the meanings I attached was, well, I mustn't be good enough, or my daddy won't be cross, or I need to be the best girl so my mammy isn't crying, or I need to be perfect, or I need to do more, or I need to stay quiet, or I need to keep the peace, or all of these belief systems that began to be installed that are rooted back in how can I be the safest.
When you work with someone, or for people listening in, where do you begin with a conversation around?
Yeah.
Do you get them to write them down? Do you get them to say, is it a question like what,
Yeah.
Is it a question that you ask people in session one? What are your beliefs?
Yeah, it's a great question. And to be honest with you, it will come out organically in a conversation. Beliefs are so kind of deep rooted. We're not even aware of them. And I'll be chatting with someone, like in a coaching session, we look at moving them from current state to desired state. So I'll be checking in on their reality. Tell me about your life now and what's going on. Without realising it through language and through patterns, they'll start talking about their lives, and they'll say things like, oh, I've never been, or I've always been, or that's not available to me, or sure, I wouldn't be able. That's the language that signals beliefs. And as soon as I start to hear it, then I can go, hang on a second now, do you realise that you said, oh, sure, I was never going to be able to do that? Or when I was small, we didn't come from a family where that was possible. And I can begin to extract the data around the belief systems through conversation.
How do we change them?
Step one is awareness. So you have to know.
And And is the awareness piece the bit that scares people the most? That you have to kind of be aware or look back before you move forward. That idea of having to
Yeah.
kind of confront where you're at.
But you know, too, I think it's your perception of that. So, again, there's choice. You can choose to relive it. And I always say this to clients, or you can choose to review it. I would always refer to it, and, we'll talk about language, as data, as installations of data. So if you extract the emotion, then the human doesn't have to go back and relive what happened. It's like we're sitting in the cinema and I'll say to them, right, throw it up there on the wall and let's review it and let's extract the data that happened at that time for that person and part the emotion and see what happens. It's such a helpful, safe way for them to feel like they can tune into what happened. And then once you see it, so once that awareness is there and you're able to look back and go, yeah, actually, that's why I decided that I wasn't good enough. And I'd say 99.9% of the people listening to me here now have the not good enoughs. I haven't met one human in all
We all have
thousands.
that.
Yeah, everyone has
I
it.
sure can't.
I know. Or I
Can't do
wouldn't be
that.
able. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you're aware of it and once you're able to name it, usually what happens then is I will go back in after the core belief and begin to dismantle it. So kind of like a detective or a Jessica Fletcher. You go back in as Cagney and Lacey. Yeah. And I would say, for example, again, if it was my life, what was happening for little me that I attached that meaning to my circumstance? So if it was the not good enoughs or I had a big one that I thought I wasn't intelligent, I would go back and ask the client, where in time, what point in time, or what pieces of evidence, air quotes, do you have to back that up? And they might say, oh, well, there was a teacher that was really cross, or I remember being in transition year and saying that I wanted to do psychology and philosophy. So much love and respect to this person before I say it. But I remember the career guidance teacher, she crinkled up her nose at me and she said, and what are you going to do with that? I know, floored. And I remember in that moment thinking, again, we attach meanings, she doesn't think you're able to do that, Tara. She doesn't think that you're intelligent enough to do it. She doesn't think that you have the capacity or the capability to be able to do that. And that was where the formation of the belief happened. So in a session, I would sit with someone and say, well, what might have been happening for her that day? Like, she might have got out the wrong side of the bed. She might have been sick. She might have had a fight with her husband. Like, there could be 45 different, facts or things that could have happened in her life in that moment that could have contributed to the meaning that you attached. So if we can go back in and dismantle it, we're in a much better position then to begin to reframe what could have been more true that would have potentially helped you moving forward.
And did those beliefs get bigger as we get older?
Yeah.
That kind of comfort bubble idea, that like as people get like school children are, what do you want to be, an astronaut?
I know.
Or like a deep or whatever, and you're like, oh my god, that's amazing.
No,
or like you ask like a 4-year-old what do you want to be, and like the thought of going outside the bubble of that idea, that safe zone. Does that get bigger as we get older in terms of our fear of breaking through it?
Yeah, and again, it's a brilliant point, and it does, because the brain adores certainty, and it doesn't care whether you're happy or sad. It doesn't care what's good for you, bad for you, right or wrong. It will rinse and repeat the patterns that you had yesterday. It's kind of like, that film Groundhog Day?
Oh, yeah.
And your man spends the whole film trying to get out of it. We do it over and over. And then people sit in front of me and go, I'm not where I want to be in my life, Tara. And I'll say, come here now. Tell me about your patterns. And have you been rinsing and repeating them for the last 20 years? If you consistently rinse and repeat the patterns, you reinforce the story. And then the brain believes that that's where safety lives. So it's just going to keep doing it. It doesn't care whether you're happy or sad. And I have seen it. People sit in front of me all the time and they'll say things like, I hate my job. I hate it. And I'll say, why are you still there? Well, it's permanent and pensionable. And I'll say, yeah, but your soul is dying inside in it.
You can understand that though, can't you?
It's safety.
And like the safety, because, when you have that chat with people and you bring guests in, they're like, oh, don't like your job, leave it. You're like, well, it's for people listening in. They're all saying the same thing, which is what I'm verbalizing it.
Yeah.
It's not always that simple.
No, but when you understand it, you can get curious about it, and then you can have a bit of compassion for the part of you that's afraid to go. And maybe just explore. We're not saying hand in your notice and,
Oh, some do. It's gas. They're
Yeah.
like, leave, go tomorrow.
I know, yeah. Eat,
And
pray,
people turn off the
pray,
podcast.
love.
Yeah,
No.
Okay, so what you're saying there is that you examine it.
Yeah. Get curious about it. And just, sometimes too, your value systems are tied in there. So again, that's conditioning. So ask yourself, are you placing higher value on maybe financial reward or security or safety or status or, a job over maybe your health and well-being or your happiness or your peace or your contentment? Like they're all saying peace is the new success. Where is your value systems? Peace
What's
is
that
the new
now?
success. I know, yeah. Have you none?
Peace. I like that. Peace is the new success.
Yeah.
See, I'm like you. I watch people. I love watching people, and,
So
you're
do I.
trying to read people on a train or whatever.
Yeah.
And like you look like, are they happy?
I know.
And you know,
Yeah.
are they at peace?
Or should then
Interesting.
Instagram and social media, I remember one girl saying to me she was jealous of her own highlight reel. Like it was total lies. I was like, oh my God, it's so fake, isn't it? So we just, you cannot take that at face value at all.
Jealous of our own highlight. But I suppose that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we post the best bits of our life.
We only post the best.
Sure, it's great. It's brilliant.
know.
Chat to me about this is really interesting. Okay, so if you're miserable, basically, don't just run from it, but examine it a
No.
little bit is what you're saying. Don't,
Yeah.
Don't leave the job just
No.
yet, but don't hide it away in the corner either. Tackle it
Get curious.
and get and process it.
Yeah. And chat it out with someone and just notice where you are placing the worth and the value. Is it on the fear side of things? Like they say, we view the world through two lenses. One of them is fear and the other one is love. So are you looking through the fear lens of, oh my God, or could you look through the love lens and be like, well, what could I do instead? Or what do I hate about the job? Could I get a transfer internally, or could I talk to my boss, or could I change my role? Or, what? I would be always looking at the possibilities within it.
Chat to me about then brain patterns
Yeah. What do you
and
want to
thoughts
Yeah.
and the consistent loop
Yeah.
of. I'm intrigued about that.
Yeah.
How do you break the cycle of I'm scared or whatever that loop is, whether it's fear or whether it's nervousness or I'm not good enough or fit or whatever the
Yeah.
loop is.
Yeah. Again, step one is awareness. So being able to see what it is, understanding that the Terminator is in there with one job of keep you alive, and knowing that in order for him to do that, he has installed these patterns to be able to, keep track of everything that's in the external environment. That's how he's able to track for threat. So the patterns are just certainty and familiarity. A really cool thing to do is sit down and do a time log of your day. So look at 15-minute increments and be like, right, what have I done from when I woke up this morning until when I went to sleep tonight? How did I spend every block of 15 minutes? Is it moving me closer to or further away from the life that I say that I want? And again, awareness is the first step. The second step is curiosity. Start looking at it and go, well, did I need to, reach out and get the phone and drag it into the bed and spend a half an hour there making sure Mary down the road has had her overnight oats and that she's living her best life? Or could I have got up and done something different that would maybe begin to baby step towards the type of person that I want to be? So the only way through the patterns is to begin to see them and then to slowly start to interrupt them.
So it's conscious awareness of
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
And being able to step back from it
Mm.
and change it.
Yeah. In very slow movements. Because if you think about that system that's in there on rinse and repeat, if you try and change, and I see this, you probably see this as well. Someone starts on a Monday and they're going changing their whole lives, eating celery and drinking
Big
water.
scary changes.
Sure.
They're
By Wednesday
impossible,
evening,
yeah.
they've got a Chinese. They're gone. Yeah. So the brain is not able to take on that level of change at that speed. It doesn't like it. The system, every alarm inside your body would be going off if you try and make that amount of change that fast.
So it's the atomic habits 1%er.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sitting back and saying, what one tiny change could I begin to make that I could rinse and repeat over the next, they say 66 days to build a habit. So there was in Robin Sharma's book, I think it's the 5 a.m. Club. And he says that there was a study done and the average is 66 days to change a habit. And then he breaks it down further and he says, you're looking at a period of 22, 22, 22. So the first set of 22 days is destruction. You have to go in after the old habit. What can you expect? Carnage. What are you going to need? Lots of support. And then the second set of 22 days is installation. Some days you'll be brilliant, other days you'll be desperate. You're still going to need support and accountability. And then that last set of 22 days is when it begins to become automatic. It's in.
And the old patterns, even the kind of painful ones, the brain clings to those. Is it safety?
Yeah. It
Yeah,
still
even if they're
believes-
causing you pain or anxiety or
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't know to differentiate until you bring awareness to it. And again, it's dialogue. So you have to watch what type of language you're using inside your mind all the time. One of the fields of study I was lucky enough to be exposed to was neurolinguistics. And that language side of things is absolutely mind-blowing. When you get in behind the words and you start to realise, I often say words are like wands. You know, they're like magic wands. They will open doors, they will close doors, depending on how you speak to yourself. So if I was saying to myself today, you know, oh my God, I'm wrecked, that reticular activating system in the front of your mind, this thing called a RAS system. I don't know if anyone listening has heard of like red car theory.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to buy a red car, they're everywhere.
Of course.
If I tell myself I'm wrecked, my body is going to physiologically respond to the command and it will notice every single way that I am wrecked. Whereas if I say to it, I am choosing to slowly energize, then the body goes, how could I do that? Give me a glass of water.
So this morning then, did you say to yourself now, because you came from
I came from
West,
Mayo, I was up the crack of dawn.
were you choosing to slowly energise this morning
know
when
what?
you got out of bed?
Honest to God, I was choosing to think thoughts that I knew would be energizing. Like, how cool is it that Karl wants me to be on the podcast? Like, I watch you on the telly. Do you know?
You flip it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you change it from being duty to gratitude.
So I describe myself as an optimistic person.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a belief.
Well, that's a good one. Hang on to
Only
it.
wind you up. I got up last night. I got up. I think at the hotel about 12:30, I think, and I was like, I'm wrecked.
There you go.
It was.
Yeah. And that's okay too. And you know, I think there's a fine line as well. Like toxic positivity is
Like, it's great. It's
I
brilliant.
know when you're hanging by a
And
thread.
I can see people listening and say, listen, hold on there.
I know. And you have to have the level of self-awareness and self-compassion to know actually that there's a line, you know, and if you are wrecked, you have to sit down and do something about it. But if you're stuck in a thought pattern or in a loop where you're just constantly waking up every day and going, oh my God, here we go again.
Is that a flag?
Yeah, that's information.
Yeah, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even that kind of, you know, dread or trudge, that heaviness in the body, your body is talking to you all the time.
Because I think on that note, I think we have a lot of listeners and non-listeners, unfortunately, who are, that's exactly how they are every day. I think the world that we live in, the cost of living, the cost of everything, there's wars, there's all kinds of stuff going on. I do think there's a lot of people in that boat, which is the drudgery of, it's you know, the heaviness of the day.
Yeah.
I do think there's a lot of that around.
Yeah, there is. I think some of it is very valid, to be honest. I think there's a lot of pain in the world.
Like, I can't look at the news.
I don't look at the news.
Or listen to the news. I listen to Lyric. Go on, Marty. He's great.
Do you?
Oh my God, yeah. Marty in the morning.
Oh my God, I need to get on that.
Lyric FM is where it's at.
I'm all about the podcast, clearly. Real health all the way. And yeah, I'm definitely more of a kind of a Spotify tunes person. But I also have a big awareness of everything that's happening in the world. But where your focus goes, your energy flows. And if you continue to focus on all of that level of negativity, your brain is listening to that record spinning in your head all the time. And thoughts become feelings. And then feelings result in the way that you act and behave. And then that gives you your experience of life.
So you're saying to
filter it
back from it, and that kind of distantly observe how you're, and then change the words, the wording, the view, the outlook.
Yeah, it's kind of like, do you remember years ago when you'd be trying to get into a nightclub and there was bouncers on the door?
Oh yeah, Bective.
God be with the days.
Fake ID.
Now we're like, please ask me for ID, please.
Yeah.
It's that. It's putting a bouncer on your mind. It's not been completely oblivious to what's happening in the world, but it's recognizing that it's there, looking at what's within your control around it. Is there anything that I can do to positively impact that? And then bringing yourself back into your own life for your own health and well-being. And for, you know, if you have kids or if you have family members around you, it's that feeling of where's my control in all of this? Where do I have an element of control?
And is that all part of the rewiring idea of rewiring your thought process?
Yeah.
To deliver a better outlook.
Yeah. And that rewiring piece, your brain is kind of like training a dog. Anyone listening that has a dog, you know, usually they need treats, but it's repetition. So if you think about wanting to fire and wire new neurological pathways, the only way to do it in the mind is repetition. And then safety. So the more we fire and wire and the more we repeat and the more the brain associates safety to the new action, the more we'll get buy-in and the more we're likely to be able to just execute it without thinking.
Because we're all afraid of stuff.
Yeah.
And that kind of fear.
What are you afraid of?
What am I afraid of?
Yeah.
Sharks.
Are ya?
Yeah.
Did someone put you watching Jaws when you were small?
No, it's one of the reasons I see swim is to try and is that sense of I could get eaten at any moment by
Where
like
did the fear come
a
from?
whale. Well, you try swim out in the middle of nowhere with like just a boat beside you. It's just you and the big sea.
I know, yeah.
All of a sudden, your element of, like you're minuscule
Yeah,
in like, just surrounded by like just water.
I know.
You can't see what's controlled. You see, because you can't see what's in it.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
I know, but listen to your language there now.
This is now turned into a coaching thing.
Yeah, no, it's not, but it's just interesting because someone else would be like, oh my, like even their tone internally when it comes to their internal dialogue, they'd be like, oh my God, it's just me beside the boat. And I'm in this huge sea.
You go there, right? That's where you
Yeah.
try and bring it to. It's
Yeah.
it's all about mental control. You bring it to that, which is this is great. Now,
It's amazing.
there's no kids here now. It's me, the boat, and the lighthouse, and life is pretty good.
Yeah, where you're.
And then when you lose it,
Yeah,
you're like, what? Like next stop, America.
yeah. So it's about bringing it back.
Where's the great white
Yeah.
or the whale?
And
And then you hear the music.
I know.
And then that's exactly where you go. You're like, I'm gonna get eaten or something. There you go.
I know.
But it is where to go with that now. The fear, the fear thing is it's what scares people because, and you're saying it's a safety thing. You bring it back to your safety.
Bring it back to safety. Watch the tone of your
Did
internal
you like
dialogue.
that kind of way segue out of
I loved that.
coaching session?
I was about to see you
Yeah.
even did a shark movement. But it's the language piece is massive.
Yes.
And I think people underestimate how powerful the words are.
Yes.
You know, we can bring up a thought inside our mind and it will instantly result in a feeling. Like we don't even realize how powerful it is. We are Steven Spielberg inside our heads. And even for people listening, if I was to give an example of it's a warm sunny day and you're in Croke Park and you're a Mayo fan and it's the last 2 minutes of an All-Ireland final and we're about to take a penalty. Like I can feel that in my body. I can feel it in my legs. I can feel it in my shoulders. And all I have done is given my brain a picture. And it didn't even look for evidence that it was real. It just flooded me with the feeling. So the more you consider the words that you're using and how powerful they are, the more in control you are of changing your physiology and your feelings and the way you're acting, behaving and your experience of life.
And of course, you tie that back then to accountability or regular check-ins along the way of how you're progressing.
That's the tribal bit. Humans love to be told that they're the best boy or the best girl. It's still in us.
Yep.
You know, it's still there from when we were small. That's where safety lives. And if we make a promise to another human, so often we're more likely to keep it than if we make a promise to ourselves, sadly.
Oh yeah, accountability.
Yeah.
As a coach or whatever.
Exactly. And we love an old cheerleader and we love
Yeah,
someone
of course.
alongside us telling us that we're doing great. And I even know, so often if you're like doing a 5K or if you're in the gym in a class, I will be motivated by the energy of the people around me. And if there's people listening that are competitive, we love a bit of healthy competition if we have other people around us. So we charge up off the humans around us. Accountability is something that I would see in coaching sessions all the time. And when I work one-on-one with someone, we do a check-in on day 7 and we do a check-in on day 14 because humans love to present the homework and be the best boy or the best girl. They love it.
It's quite like therapy, isn't it?
In what way?
Or is it? The coaching.
It's a modality. But
and I think it's an important question, because people listening in, or just generally within the industry, I think it's an interesting question to establish the similarities or not to.
And it's important to kind of distinguish between the modalities.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that I would sit with, and we will go to a certain depth within a coaching session, and something will come up, and I will ask the question, and know usually by the body language if it is a piece of information that needs further conversation. And so many of my clients over the last 8 years, you would get to a point in a session and I'd say, do you feel like this needs a little bit more teasing out, or it needs a bit more attention, or it needs more focus? And they'll say, yeah. And I am really lucky over the last 8 years. I have a brilliant network of psychotherapists and counsellors, and I can refer on. And it is so powerful to watch the two modalities work in parallel. Lots of my clients go to counselling and psychotherapy and they come to me. This coaching element of it is it's very much present and future focused, where I would see psychotherapy and counselling have a lot of its foundations in the past, and they work under very different methodologies than the way that I would work, but they complement each other perfectly.
And is it something that we're getting better at?
How do you mean?
As a society,
Yeah.
as an Irish society, and we've
Talking.
international listeners too.
Yeah.
Not just talking now, but like analyzing ourselves a little bit and trying to bring ourselves to a better place. Like 10, 15 years ago now, that would have might have been done,
Yeah.
but it wasn't quite talked about
Yeah. There was
on a
probably bit
corporate
of
level or on a sports level, or
Yeah. There was a bit of a stigma attached,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a kind of you were a bit broken if you had to go to someone. And there was sometimes an element of shame or guilt or kind of about it. I definitely think the landscape has changed. I feel like the results actually have spoken for themselves in that people now that have attended counselling, psychotherapy or coaching or any therapeutic modality, they have seen huge benefits in their lives. You know, they're healthier. And I love to see the tidal wave of change that's happening now. There was such a huge focus on physical health, and now people are really beginning to look at their psychological well-being, their emotional well-being. I had a great conversation with someone recently about their financial well-being, their spiritual well-being. Like the human has begun, you know, we're looking at ourselves as a whole as opposed to just
surviving.
Yeah, which is lovely. It's a much more wholesome way to live. It's a much more respectful way to live. I think when I have conversations with people, an awful lot of the time it comes back to self-worth. And we'll prioritise everything and everyone over ourselves. And I think what's beginning to happen now is humans have a much more respectful sense of how they do life. And that there's so many different aspects of them that need to be nourished and nurtured and minded, and that they need to be curious about, or that they want to be curious about. I think it's lovely. I think that transition is so needed. There's a kind of a collective consciousness of awakening happening where people are kind of tuning into themselves like I've never seen before. It's gorgeous. It gives you hope for the generations to come. You know, I see it with my son. He's only 10. And even his emotional landscape, like he's able to say to me now, Mum, I'm overstimulated. I need to go and touch grass, you know. And I'm thinking, I didn't know that was, I'm 44. I didn't realise I was overstimulated. I too shall touch some grass, you know. Like to have that level of internal awareness around that landscape inside of you. Such a gift in terms of navigating the world.
For people listening in,
Yeah.
if you were to give them 3 takeaways.
Go on.
Yeah.
Chinese and Indian. Oh,
Yeah.
Go on.
What would they be from the conversation that we've had? Maybe is a better way of funneling that down the right.
Yeah.
I know, but because we ask guests that when they come in, who are experts in their field. You're an award-winning expert in your field.
Thanks, Karl.
So, what would you like people to do after the conversation that we've had? What would you like them to?
3 things. So I would say become more aware, like even 1% more aware every day of the words that you use. And just ask yourself, now that we know that your words are wands and they're building the world that you live in, are they moving you closer to or further away from the life that you say that you want to live? So number 1 would definitely be that awareness around the words. Number 2 would be to have more self-compassion. Humans are so hard on themselves. And I see, they say comparison is the thief of joy. And I think social media, we have a lens now into people's lives that we never had. People are harder on themselves than they've ever been. I think a level of compassion would make such a difference to you and how you feel and how you do life every day, and to all the people around you that you love. And lastly, to understand the relationship that you have with yourself is the biggest relationship you're ever going to have in your life. And I always say this, you are with you from your first breath until your last. Get to know yourself before you leave this world. And again, when it comes to social media, we know more about Mary down the road and her overnight oats and what she has in her under the sink press than you know about your own belief systems or value systems or what you're afraid of or what you hope and what you dream before you leave this world. Take the time to get to know yourself.
We've covered a lot of ground.
Sure, we had a great chat.
A lot of ground. If people want to follow you, where can they follow you?
Navigationcoach.com, and the handle is the same on Instagram.
It's been brilliant to have you on.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for coming in. We've now christened our new studio, folks. It is officially open for business. That is it for another episode of Real Health with me, Karl Henry. As ever, you know where we are, at Karl Henry PT on Instagram, Real Health at independent.ie, and on the Irish Independent website. And we'll see you next week for more Real Health. Slán go fóill.